Hi, everybody. Welcome to the December 2nd Generative Writing Workshop with SNHU. I'm your host, Max Jane Fraser. And today I have two great flashes in mind. If you're one of the new students to my class and couldn't make it but wanted to see this recording, in 529, you're introducing yourself to the class, and then you're talking about what makes a good story. And I'm just asking, be sure that you pay attention to what the prompt is asking for. 2 to 3 sentences, summary of the story you chose, evaluate what makes it engaging, and you need to talk about how it hooks the readers and how it keeps the readers reading. And then be sure you read the paragraph as you respond to classmates and follow what's required as you respond to classmates. For English 532, you're describing the bedroom as you picture it of one of your favorite literary characters. And I've done it before with one of my favorite literary characters is Taya Kronberg from a Willa Cather novel, The Song of the Lark. And I have the advantage of the bedroom exists that she based it off of. So I could mentally picture having visited the Willa Cather childhood home and do it there. So describe that when you respond to your classmates, discuss how well their vision matches your own, or point out details that they use that really helps bring it to life. And we will spend an entire term talking about those details, the setting and how it can become a character, how important it is to use your sensory details to make that setting come alive. And you all are nodding like, we know, let's go. All right, so our normal way of doing this is we like to read some inspirational work, and then we will do a 6-minute writing prompt with it. And after people write, they will share what they got. And we mostly just work through the term, all of us waiting until we do the improv writing prompt, where for 6 minutes, for 5 of the 6 minutes, I throw a word out every 30 seconds. I try to include it in what you write, so you've been forewarned. All right, let's see. Anybody have any questions that's in our group? I do want to say, over on the Discord for NaNoWriMo, things went really well. Randall and Suzanne, who are here, got to the 50,000 words. Suzanne has 0 manuscript she's editing. I was so excited to hear that news this morning. And Randall writes epic fantasy, so the fact that 50,000 words to what'll be easily 100,000 book, right?
Easy.
So good progress anyway. So really great energy. It's exactly what I was hoping y'all would do when we came together like this. So I'm just so thrilled. All right, so here is A Way by Sarah Freligh, whose class, Get It Down and Fix It Up, I'm finishing up just now. And it's been an amazing flash class. It gives me a lot of ideas to share with y'all too. Does anybody want to read this?
I can read it.
Thank you, Randall.
We spent our last $3 on a tall boy that we passed back and forth through most of Iowa. 24 hours we'd been driving, away from the sick and the sirens and the smell of the dead in the streets. Truckers honked around us, past us. We waved to the cute ones, hiked our skirts higher on our pale thighs. We were down to warm suds when the needle scraped E, and we pulled into a mom and pop station at the next exit. We sat on the curb out front and discussed what we were willing to do for a gallon or two, still, sell ourselves, and laughed until our pants were damp. The owner called us sweetheart and gave us coffee and a couple of stale donuts before he shut off the lights and headed home. I'd never seen so many stars. Sitting there like that, I was sure I could feel the earth turn, but you said no. It was probably the grumble of trucks on the interstate. Still, it was nice to think we were moving forward, away from ourselves, even while we were stuck.
Thank you. So we've read this one before, but again, what are some of the parts that really stand out to you? And this is related to what we were doing in 529 and 532 with character and setting. And tell me a little bit about what's happening.
I think some of the language that's used always draws me in. And one of the, I think this last time we were talking about this, the smell of the dead in the streets I really went back to that, like speculative, post-apocalyptic versus like, so it was more fun to think about it in a post-apocalyptic setting.
Mhm. Good, because that relates to the prompt. What kind of people are these? Do you think they're gendered? Suzanne does. She's nodding her head. Why? What are your clues that they're gendered in your mind?
It was definitely like the Hector skirts higher on her pale thighs. In like the sell ourselves, laugh until our pants are down. Sweetheart. Calling them sweetheart.
Yeah, and in all of that, I mean, anybody can hike up skirts, right? And anybody can be called sweetheart, but how many gendered male people do you know laugh until their pants are down, right? That's just not a thing that I know of that happens to guys. Randall, if it does, you can enlighten me.
Nope. Sorry.
Nope. And then we have this funky feeling, you know, she says, away from the sick and the sirens and the smell of the dead in the streets. We've been told this is some sort of an apocalypse, right? But they're buying tall boys and there's a grumble of trucks on the interstate. So what about this moment? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't fit our vision of what an apocalypse is like, or it exactly does, or you know, what do you think?
Well, it seems like commerce is still intact, and that suggests that if it's an apocalypse, it's localized. It's not, absolute.
Yeah, so they're getting away from what's happening where they are, right? I know that when this came out, I feel like it came out during pandemic times, but my guess on the publication cycle was it was actually written before the pandemic shut us down. So maybe not. I don't know. I have this prompt for us though that talks about apocalyptic futures. But wait, who doesn't get a heavy apocalypse feeling? Jesse. Yeah, only sirens, sick and sirens and smell of dead in the streets. Like if you're to the point where there's dead in the streets, that feels like that's what I think makes it have an apocalyptic feeling for me. But it doesn't mean that it's a heavy apocalypse, right? Yeah. Or also, and Jesse, I think you might be meaning this too. It's funny, like they're lighthearted, they're on an adventure, even though something serious is behind it, right? Uh-oh, one message. Yeah, and that's actually how I initially read it too, until I paid attention to that second half of that sentence. I thought, yeah, it could have just been bad relationships or them finally breaking out on their own. And you can read it that way. You definitely can. So in the prompt, I'm asking you what an apocalyptic future looks like to you, because I was thinking of it in terms of apocalypses, and I love genre, you know. So it could be you, or if you have a fictional character, like what cataclysmic, I say apocalyptic too many times in this prompt. What cataclysmic event has happened? Was it possible to avoid that event? And what do people like you, if you're making up a pretend future for you or your character, do to get away from like this disastrous present environment? So you got to think of some sort of cataclysmic thing and apply it to you or your character for 6 minutes. Do you guys have any questions or do you have ideas? Are you ready to write? Okay. On your marks, get set, write. Yeah, they're really fun. Oh, hey, Rick, we're out of time already. How did it go?
Yeah, it went. I got interrupted for half of the writing, so I only got like 2 minutes of writing in, but we did it.
Glad you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know. As my memoir has one little section when I'm teaching, one of my superpowers is silence. And so, you know, I don't have it in real life, but when it comes to these situations, I don't mind just kind of hanging out, waiting for somebody to get uncomfortable and speak up. Because then at least it's not me speaking up. So it's very easy.
It's a
but-
psychological tool to make people talk. It's a real thing.
No, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I use it in live classrooms, like when I'm in front of
Mhm.
students all the
Yeah.
time. They don't like it at all.
I am so
Like-
susceptible to that tactic. I hate it.
Yeah, and I actually tell like people like you, because I see you a lot, that I do it
Mhm.
simply because then
Mhm.
then it's not as much pressure because you're like, oh, she's doing that thing. All right, I'll go, you know.
Right.
Plus we're an easy group. We know each other.
Mhm.
So did anybody get anything that you had fun with that you want to share?
Actually, this prompt, there's a flash fiction contest for a magazine that we sometimes will do. And this month, it's like a reality TV challenge. And this month is about like Big Brother style TV shows. And I was talking to Randall about it last night. And I was like, I think what I'm going to write is a post-apocalyptic nuclear reality TV show. And I hadn't started writing it yet. So as soon as you posted this, I was like messaging Randall. I was like, yeah. So I started on
That's
that.
great. So what'd you get?
Yeah. Hold on, sorry.
Okay, well, we won't find out what she got yet. What did somebody else get?
I can go first.
There you go.
The forest was gone. Instead, a beach of their fallen ashes lay scattered before an ocean of pavement. My mom had told me of a time where people used to swim in the water or climb trees out in a park. Where a park wasn't a place for the graveyard of cars with wares being sold in the back of them. She told us the trees and the green was a good thing, letting people not wear masks or carry around tanks because the air was safe to breathe. She told me about the monsters who drove the world to the brink of destruction and laughed as they made the final push, sending the world down into the pit of despair that I know today. I kept her diagrams. That was all I got.
What was the last thing you said? Captured
Kept her diagrams.
diagrams?
Oh, kept.
Oh. Gotcha. I love that you use the knowledgeable person and the person who needed to be informed to inform us as readers what the world was. That was a fantastic use of what the kid was taught, that taught us what was normal for and what's normal currently. Nicely done.
I'm curious about the masks that you described. Um, is it like my first thought was a COVID mask just because that is where our social conscience is. But then I was like, is it more like a gas mask?
No, reading it back, I'm like, oh, now I'm thinking of this. And I was like, no, I was thinking like gas masks or like the
Mhm.
ones.
the
Like,
big old filter ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because the air wasn't safe to breathe, right?
right.
Hazmat, yeah, Sarah.
yeah.
There we go. Hmm.
I really liked also Graveyard of Cars. And then almost like cats, I could picture them laughing as they made the final punch. You have anything to add, Randall?
No, the graveyard of cars was my favorite part of it because it kind of
Hmm.
it to me it was standing as like it wasn't just the cars that had died, it was the society that they represented from before. So I kind of like the symbolism of the cars there.
Hmm.
Sarah liked that too. So you got like 4 votes on Graveyard of Cars.
Hmm.
Using the word graveyard did set the tone. Yeah, awesome,
Yeah.
Sarah. Cool. Nicely done, Suzanne. Clearly, y'all have been doing a lot of writing because this came pretty. Sarah was gonna put hers in the chat. Do you want to go, Sarah? She said up here it says I'll go whenever. So
Hmm.
let's see if it pops up.
Chat us up, girl. Let's see it.
Yeah, I got it sure, so I know it's coming.
Hmm.
It's so weird to see you inside, Jesse.
I know. Well, that's why I keep having to go on and off. Like the whole house was supposed to be empty by now, and they weren't. So I just, yeah, we're keeping the camera off the chaos, but they're gone now. Maybe they came back for a minute, and I was like, you know,
Well,
we're supposed to be here.
it's not like this is very formal, right?
No, no.
It wants shorter, huh?
Oh, is it
There
a
we
word
go.
count thing? Yeah.
There we go. And then are you gonna put up a second half or is that the whole thing? Sorry. All right, I'm gonna read this, and if there's more, I'll keep reading.
Hold on just a second.
Oh, I'm not gonna read this yet.
There is more.
Wait, what I doing?
It started snowing giant snowflakes again. Where'd my sunshine go? All I can see outside is blue sky, and then snow is falling.
Isn't that always so fun, wondering where it's coming from?
Well, and ever since I got taught that phrase, my understanding is it's rather southern. It's if it sunshines and precipitates, the devil's beating his wife. That's just, I mean, like it's
Sounds
so
southern.
bad. Okay, now can I read
Okay,
it, Sarah? Okay.
yeah.
One more ended relationship, but this one hit her soul. Spitting embers from flames spread, consumed the mountains, boiled the life-sustaining water, turning it into steamy vapors, making crops sizzle, cooked them before they're ripe. Smoke rose with toxins the fire was releasing. The boiling waters bubble the skin till it's sloughed off, revealing the inside. Knowing there's nowhere to go to get away from the searing heat, she stood on the highest point of the nearby hill, fists at her sides, one holding a journal she'd had for years, chin jutted out in defiance, eyes open, refused to fight what she could not avoid. The fire line reached her hill that had kept her safe as a child. She remained rigid as smoke made her eyes water. The heat forced sweat to pour from every gland. The wind thrust the apocalyptic fire through the trees, grass, and the shrubbery. As it passed over her, she felt her clothes melt to her skin, but she remained a stoic statue. She could taste the dry, muddy flavor of singeing leaves. After the fire line passed her, she looked down, expecting to see charred skin, but instead saw a clean body and the remaining binding of her journal. One of her fists burnt pages that had held the sins and trauma of her past, floating in ashen puzzle pieces before they swayed down to the ground to mix with what was now dead and gone. She dropped the useless binding and walked away. The fire no longer scalded. Oh. All right, everybody.
That's good. That's crazy you got that in this time. So off the cuff, you know. This feels so planned. It's so good. You know, you worked in like this huge symbolic element with the journal so fluidly. Solid.
it felt like our first clue that something really in the realm of miraculous or magical realism was happening was when the clothes melt her skin, but there's no, like, we trust her enough as an author that there would be pain if there was pain, right? And so then she tastes the dry, muddy flavor of singeing leaves. Like, this is a visceral feeling, tasting person, and yet she ends up with a clean body and an ashen journal, right? And it felt very resurrectionist. Like,
yeah,
like it had a religious theme to it, and that was amazing because never once in here is there an overt point towards any kind of religion. But anybody who's familiar with religious tropes would say this person was just born again, you know. Or if not born again, then what's the other word? Not even resurrected. What's the other one?
Like baptized, kind of?
Yeah.
Or are you thinking,
I was thinking ascended, I think. So the person maybe had left their corporeal body. Fire refines things, though.
Yeah, it feels to me like there's a narrative that goes through a lot of teachings in the New Testament about like purifying metal by putting it through fire. And it kind of feels like this is similar to that, of like it's burning away the things that are holding this person down, and rather than damaging them, it's actually forming them back into what they were meant to be.
Wow. Nice. So I love, we were talking, was it last time, about whether or not a lot of literary journals would take things that have Christian themes. Don't you think there'd be zero question about, one, that there's a Christian theme happening here, and two, that it's appropriate to work on and submit to literary journals? And I think it's because the more sophisticated the approach is to a religious topic, and what I mean by sophisticated is using figurative language, choosing structure and creating meaning that could be interpreted without knowing the New Testament and how it refines things.
Yeah.
So I think this is how you do it.
Yeah. Definitely, because I didn't get the necessarily like Christian element out of it until we started talking about it. So I think it's veiled enough that it could pass,
And I love that language, veil and pass, because I don't think it's technically veiled, but it could be if you don't know the subtext, right? And that works for people not raised in a religious environment, people like me. I mean, like, I can barely tell it's here, and I know it's here more through reading a lot of older work, from the time period when people wrote only about religious topics, right?
Yeah.
I'm recognizing it from that rather than my own. She didn't intend a religious tone. Oh, well, it's there.
Oopsie.
Yeah, yeah. And it doesn't have to be again, too. It's
Mhm.
just it's just a part of who you are, Sarah, right?
Mhm.
For
Yeah,
better
to
or for
me,
worse.
yeah. And just because it's, that it has that commonality doesn't mean that it's necessarily tied to the religion. It's just something that has in common with it. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's something that people with that lived experience can latch onto easily.
yeah.
And Randall, you said
Mhm.
something last time that was really great about it, that, whether something is a currently practiced thing, it's a foundation, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
in the Western world of literature, it's a well-known foundation and one that people take comfort in finding it, right?
Mhm.
Well, thanks, Sarah. This is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty dang impressed.
Mhm.
So who wants to follow that?
Randall can.
I'll go.
Ah,
All right. When the first geyser of liquid abyss tore free from the streets, no one was afraid. They stood and gaped at the impossible absence of color, something that went far beyond any could be called black. Some went insane then, staring into the nothingness. Others laughed as it patterned their skin like the first kiss of rain. They didn't laugh for very long. I tear through the streets of our suburb in a stolen SUV. Half of its former owner, my neighbor, had been erased in his front door by the stuff. My daughter screams in the back seat, screaming for her lost mother. I raced along with the passenger door as the tide of abyss took her forever. I look into the rearview mirror as it splashes down the street, and other vehicles fall away into the empty chasm it has created. No, that's not the right word. I curse as I look forward in time to rear end a crashed car. The wave takes us, and the next word will never find the page.
So they got. I was feeling a little Lovecraftian in the very beginning when you were talking about like the maniacal aspects of it, you know? And then I think he swerved a little. Like that SUV.
I love. It's very difficult to write a first-person narrator who dies. And so one of the comforts we usually can take in a book written in the first person is that the narrator is going to make it. How else did the book get published, right? Unless they say something like, the next word will never find its way to the page. It's, yeah. It's a bit of a conceit, right? I mean, because obviously these words found their way onto a page. So it's got to be a little fictional. But that's that other piece of memoir. The reason we know in memoir that the person is alive usually is because that's that narrating voice that's telling the scene. But in fiction, I think we wrote
That's
like
solid.
400 things here. What are your favorites?
The imagery of half of the neighbor just sent me. I almost expected the neighbor to be in the car. Like I was gearing up for like the charred skeleton of the neighbor to be sitting in the passenger seat or something. But no, he's stuck in the doorway. Silly goose. Couldn't make it. Solid imagery throughout. Very nice.
It didn't make you think of World War Z. Yeah. Sarah, I mean, of course, in the text. I mean, the chat. When, so we had half of the former owner, which kind of grabbed all of us so much that we almost missed the lost mother, right? She's screaming for her lost mother. And that's when we know this is not going to end well, because you're already killing off people we love. We don't even know we love her, but she's a mother, and the small child is in the seat, and she's a wife because it's his daughter screaming for her mother, right? So, or at least a part. Right? It's good. I don't know how you do that in 6 minutes every time. I hope you do this with yourself, though. Do you set up timed writing periods for yourself?
This is kind of just the natural way that I write flash fiction. When I'm writing something short, I want to finish it in one sitting. So I don't really outline or plan. I just stream of consciousness the first draft every time. So
But so you repeat this act.
mhm.
I honestly think because I just took that flash class with Sarah that's ending tomorrow. I'm similar. You know, I will crank out the first thing. It feels like these moments. I don't set a timer, but I crank it out and leave it alone. And come back.
Mhm.
This feels right. Jesse, 2 minutes.
Hey.
What'd you get?
Comedy. It's not very serious, but okay. And the lowest rank bunker for this season is, oh rats, it's for the third season in a row now, it is bunker number 22. The tenants of bunker 22 breathed a heavy sigh into the highly filtered air, setting off the CO2 sensors for a brief moment that they tried to squash. The announcement screen went black, but of course they understood clearly from the highlight reels of the last 2 seasons that they were indeed being watched as they decided which member to eject into the nuclear sea. Cannonball! Bombs away! They all remembered hearing as the last 2 sacrifices were sucked through the ejection tube, green glowing slime covering the eroded lens of the outer cameras that recorded the plunge. That's all I got to know. There's this arc there that's coming though. She's gonna be real good. It's like the
Yeah.
lottery, but not, because they don't do it randomly.
But that does
Yeah.
function as a narrative arc. What you got? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, if there's a place to submit this, you need to keep going. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, there
Yeah.
is. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. I'm excited to get her done.
So the first thing that happens for me, like, I don't know if you randomly chose that number, bunker number 22, but my
Yeah,
brain went,
totally right.
not a prime number because 23 is a prime number, divisible by 2, double 11. Like, and I'm trying to think the meaning behind that, right?
Totally random.
So when you rewrite it,
Yeah.
maybe it's 23 because it's prime and it's not divisible, right?
Yeah.
Well,
don't admit
We'll
it.
assign some meaning.
Just sit here like this. When she asks you what it means, don't answer.
Oh, of course. Okay, I'll practice for next time.
listen, this is an honest safe space, even if we are being recorded.
Yeah, Randall.
And so now I know that Randall's playing me. Any other thoughts, people?
Oh, I'm excited for you to keep going with this one, Jesse.
Yeah, I hope it'll be good.
It will.
Imagine the death is being ejected into a nuclear sea. You know, there's almost a wee bit of a Hugh Howey wool feeling to this. You know how they're in bunkers and the whole world around them is nuclear sea, apparently. So have you read that series, the Silo series? Oh, it's so good that I kind of probably wee bit of a
I'll make a
spoiler
note.
there, but I didn't hurt anything. The first book is wool, but all 3 of them, when I figured out what his setting was, and part of the beginning mystery of it is trying to figure out, like, what is this place, right? Oh my gosh. If you don't love it, you have to tell me. It's good enough that I read just recently. He's got a book that maybe is set in the same world, but I don't know. Called Sand, and then he had a follow up to that book, Sand something or the other. I just read those like last week. But Wool something and something. Those 3 books. Those are And he is an example. Actually, as long as we're talking, he's an example of somebody who's self-published, and his self-publishing was so successful that publishers approached him and wanted to buy the rights to continue to represent those books. So he's one of those rare cases where he was so successful that in reverse order, he got a publisher, he got an agent, and obviously they sold the TV rights, and he negotiated that big time. So I'm pretty sure, because the Silo series that just came out on one of the streaming services is these books. Don't watch it first.
Mm.
It's really
Oh,
And,
okay. Yeah, of course.
good. I did the books on audio, so I will vouch for the narrator. The narrator was good.
Hmm.
Anyway, he's a really interesting case study for people like us. Right.
Okay.
That maybe gives me an idea. I'm struggling with this genre class. So. Okay. Here we are, people. I have the most fun next one. So it's a really negative Nelly flash that we're going to read, and then we're going to flip it on its head for the prompt. So who's ready to read a
Okay.
negative Nelly flash?
I'll do it. All right. This is Disco 2000.
By unpronounceable Anastasia.
Yes. By someone very special. Yes. All right. If you were a fruit, you'd be the sourest lemon, the way you shake my hand like we didn't once share our deepest secrets. And if you were a notebook, you'd be a diary. You'd only have to pat my back and I'd spit it all out. And if you were a party, you'd be a cozy gathering. You listen carefully, you nod in sympathy. And if you were a song, you'd be Disco 2000, but for a friendship lost. And if you were anything at all, you wouldn't have left. Not then, not now. You'd stay and hold me.
What do you think?
Is Disco 2000 a real song? Am I just
You know
unaware?
what? I should have looked it up. Let me see if I talk about
I feel
these
like-
and I'll look up Disco 2000. I'm pretty sure it is. Because I looked it up the last time. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so if I share screen, will it make the sound happen?
Quite possibly.
Okay, so you guys can't hear this sound, can you? Okay, hold on.
Mm-mm, no.
Sorry. It's not the song, it's an ad.
Oh. I was like, all right, she's jamming.
I'm trying to share it. Hold on. I just am having it. Okay, what about now?
I don't hear anything from valleyvet.com.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
My
Is it a
phone
good
is
ad?
broken. No. How about
It
the
was so
quality?
sad.
No?
Mm-mm.
Hold on. Oh, it changed. Okay, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm just gonna make the sound loud.
Okay. It's like one of those liminal spaces playlists.
Can you hear it?
Mm-mm.
Can you hear it?
It's a rock song. Is it?
Oh well, I guess I have my background on too strong. Sorry.
Mm-mm.
You guys can
No,
look
but
it
it's
up.
by Pulp, so it's a rock
Bitch.
song, which is unexpected. I was fully expecting disco, and it is
What's-
not.
It sounds like Gloria. It's like the da da da.
Like the opening riff, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the first lines of it have that tune sound to it.
Mm-hmm.
So not disco. No.
Yeah, no. That gives the new context.
I know, right? Okay. What worked in this piece?
I like on from an actual like writing standpoint that it is all one sentence. Just one like exhalation of these feelings is what it kind of feels like.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
It's like she's like going to stop and then she's like, and then, and let me just keep going while I'm at it, you know.
And how long do you think it is? Like guessing, do not
100 words.
exactly. Yeah.
It kind of looks like one of those stories to me, so I figured it might have been.
Yeah. Yeah. But Microfiction Monday isn't 100-word place. Like, I mean, they'll
Mhm.
obviously publish this short, but you can tell the person wrote 100 words and found a home for it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I like figurative language, because you had class with me. But what figurative language are you seeing happen here? Like it transitions from
Mm-hmm.
figurative to kind of something else. So it's metaphors, right?
Yeah, definitely.
If you were a fruit, you'd be these things. If you were a diary, you'd be these things. And then it's if you were anything at all. And what happens,
Mm-hmm.
like that's almost like a volta in this, right? Like that's when the shift happens for us.
Mm-hmm.
So why does it surprise us there? If you were a fruit, if you were a diary, if you were a song, if you were anything.
Well, now we know that they are nothing. Just by saying that, whatever it is this person was in their life no longer exists. It's a very much dead to me feeling. But yeah, like Sarah says, is it real? Because they don't exist anymore.
Right. If you were anything.
Yeah.
But this is a repetition, right? If you were a fruit, if you were a notebook, if you were a song, if you were and so we're like, okay, and if you were ice cream, whoa, if you were anything at all, right? Yeah, so we're expecting it to be another
Thing.
so so this prompt is a little funny. I'm going to read it for the people who are listening. How could this story be told about a positive relationship? And then, of course, I don't want to pin people down to like a person relationship. So it could be like with an animal or a book or, anything that you love, and use a fruit and an object and a social event and a song and the phrase everything to describe whatever this thing is that's important to you. And let the last line be what makes them so great, because this last line is what made them so not great, right? And you don't have to give away. It could be written in the first person, right? Like this is to the you if you want, but we don't have to know what the you is. I mean, for all we know, this is a cat that ran out the back door, and she, Mileva Anastasiadou, is I have no idea if that's how to say. Maybe she's just lamenting that.
Maybe.
You got an object, you got a thing on your marks.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get set, right. You have a minute left. And where did you go? There was one point when Randall looked like he was maybe dying, so I hope this wasn't awful for him. I muted you, there was some sound, so you are dead to us at the moment. Except
How about
for
now?
Shirley. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
No, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Good, good. I felt like this one was just really fun. That's why I saved it for last.
It's cute. It,
Yeah.
well, it felt cute to write.
Cute in that way.
Yeah.
And hey, y'all, don't let me forget, I have this cool thing I learned about in this class that I want to put the form in here before we go.
Okay.
So you're gonna love it so much for your flash work.
Writing in capital letters. Form.
But because we're leaving comments in the chat, I can't
Yeah.
prep it in the chat. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, who's interested in kicking us off?
I'll do it.
You'll do it. Okay.
I will. All right, ready?
Mhm.
If you were a fruit, you'd be the kiwi I peel away layers of abrasive fur by the sweet center. The kiwi I sometimes think of biting into whole, no peeling, skin intact, because even with your shrieking outer self, I love you so much. If you were an ornament, you wouldn't be the angel at the top of the tree. You can't hide the rot on your fingertips when they grab at me, but you would be the golden pony, the one I watched you hang because it had my name on it circa 1998, because every part of me belongs to you. If you were a game, you'd be basketball in the winter, soccer in the spring, football in the fall, and I'd go anywhere, rain or shine, warm or cool, but I'd even brave the cold and the hot to watch you thriving, red-faced and alive. If you were a song, you'd be the one I wrote for you when you were 4. And all I wanted was to give you the whole world. Have I done well? Have I given you everything you need and most of what you want? If you weren't everything to me, I'd have an easier time saying no. I won't take a bite. I won't watch. I won't listen. But every time I say yes, because no cannot harmonize with your screams. So cute.
Oh, especially hearing it read in your voice.
Stop.
That's really beautiful. Wait, no.
Mhm.
I got it. See, nobody else was even writing. You enraptured them so much.
Stop.
No, I'm
I even
serious.
had the pack ready to go, but I just couldn't like and listen at the same time. So I was like, "Ooh,
Mhm.
but I love that."
Yeah.
Talk about what made you love it so much beyond hearing how much she cared in her voice.
There was so much like detail where you felt like the relationship with the person. And Dr. Max actually put one of my favorites, that anywhere to watch you thriving, red faced and alive. Like just
Mhm.
some of like rain or snow or hot. I'll be there for you.
Yeah.
Oh,
It just conveyed a very wide range of, relatable emotions, even if the objects were not exactly the same. We have
Mhm.
those connections with people, and we have those memories that kind of are connected to things as much as they are to the people. And I don't know, there's something in the symbolism of that that's powerful to me. So
Mm.
very good. I loved it. It was beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
And because of the age, we know it's being written about a child, and people would guess, although, I don't know, but they would guess this is probably the narrator's child. And like everybody says they want to eat a kid up. And the kiwi was
Mhm.
so great. Especially because I was already typing in there, but we can eat the skin. And then you wrote about eating the skin too. And I was like,
Mhm.
there you go, right? Because
Yeah.
I guess technically kiwi, you're supposed to eat the skin. That's where all the best nutrition is or something.
But it
Anyway,
feels so bad on the tongue. Who would do that?
does my brother. So he's odd. And then you went from the kiwi to you wouldn't be the angel at the top of the tree, because I can see the rot at the end of your fingers. Isn't that in there?
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm like, I want to know what that is. I want to, so you
Mhm.
have your readers asking these questions, and you could see this one actually, I think, coming out almost as a poem, because it's got
Yeah.
enough of the mystery in it to leave us asking these
Mhm.
questions. And then they have this volta, right? From all the like all the imperfection is what makes this narrator so in love with this monster,
Mhm.
right? Like this is the narrator's
Yes.
monster.
Yeah.
I'll do anything for this monster, right?
Mhm.
So I just loved it. It was really great.
Oh,
And I
thanks.
don't think it was cute. I mean, I think the love was genuine,
Mhm. Mhm.
but not cute. Anything with rotted fingers in it is not cute. Right?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, we say that a child, you probably do too, that a child is spoiled rotten.
Yeah, it would only take me a little more thinking probably to get there. Like I don't judge anything.
Yeah.
No, I don't know a thing about that because I haven't had children and I was the youngest. So
Mhm.
I don't know who was spoiled rotten in my family.
Mhm.
No telling.
It was just lovely, and I hope that you will fix that up and send it out, because that was just
Sure.
you can tell it's
Let's
just so
do it.
heartfelt. Yeah, you should be doing it.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, who wants to follow that?
Suzanne shaking her head. I'll go next.
Okay.
If you were a fruit, you'd be the last coconut on a deserted isle, the reprieve for a weary and parched soul looking for salvation. If you were an object,
Ooh.
you'd be a blanket, a place of safety and warmth that embraces my cold, scarred skin in sleep. If you were a party, you'd be the corner, a safe place where wallflowers like me can lean and rest, away from bullshit and fakery. If you were a
Mhm.
song, you'd be a scratchy recording, sent in private, a low note that makes up for audio quality with a depthless ocean of sincerity. If you were everything, then I could lay down this burden and simply be.
Oh, that's lovely.
All right, everybody. So many favorite parts. What are yours?
Mhm. The song one is nice. The scratchy recording that makes up for audio quality, peak, because that shows such a level of like being personal, you know.
And although this surely isn't true, the stuff on the shelves behind Randall always feels like sound equipment to me. And I know it's not, I think it's drawers, like little
It is.
drawers. Yeah.
Mhm.
But that to me, that contextualized it into being that much more meaningful because I do believe that sound quality matters to Randall.
I really like the imagery with the wallflower, like then I can like be safe and like rest. I was like, oh, heart melted.
Hmm.
I wrote
Opening with the
corner.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I wrote corner in all caps for that one. Because
Hmm.
that is my favorite place in a party because I'm such an introvert, right? I want away from
Mhm.
everybody, but I want to be there. I just want to witness it. I don't want to be a part of it. And I was like, oh, for every person who feels this way, you nailed that part. But
Mhm.
Jesse, yes, talk about that.
Just the opening with the coconut at the very first, I thought it was gonna be kind of funny because I don't know why my first image was just like banging coconuts on things and getting like the click clack click clack. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be a funny thing, and then it turned very heartfelt. Yes, the Monty Python. Yeah, but then it went very heartfelt, especially like the way you turned it after that, to be like that is the source of water, that is like the source of nutrients on this lost island. And then I was like, okay, this is what we're doing, you know.
First, then the symbolism, right? That he
Mhm.
managed to pull off because
Mhm.
the narrator and the coconut are an
Mhm.
island unto themselves, and
Mhm.
that's pretty awesome. And then we see it all the way through. She,
Yeah.
I'm saying she, but the person saves the narrator over and over again, right? In this, which is lovely, makes me happy. I just heard like a weird message sound. Was that
Yeah,
loud for everybody?
someone got
Okay.
a message.
And it wasn't
My
me.
family's trying to coordinate coming to visit my Oma and my Opa today.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm in class, I'm understood.
Well, we won't be too much further. Actually, we have Sarah and Suzanne. Randall, that was, as
Mhm.
always, incredible.
I can go next.
Okay.
She was a blueberry packed with flavor and depth. Her outside skin was hard to peel. It would stain your fingers, but she would give you the clothes off her back if she needed to. Her insides were packed with nutrients. She provided everything she could give to keep us healthy as she could. She stayed strong as you tried to match her, trying to get us to see a different side. But all we do was sweeten her up and toast to her success as she left him a queen of her own castle. Her favorite band would play, and I would do anything to keep the smile on her face as her artist made it my Spotify top 5. Everything she has done to raise 3 blueberry bushes to full maturity, now she can now reap the fruits of her labor.
Yeah, definitely full of metaphoric imagery.
Mhm.
I like that you got experimental. And instead of
Mhm.
like, if you were this, then this, she just is, right? She is
Mhm.
blueberry. And then Jesse, you said stain your fingers. And I felt like that was
Yeah.
such a great choice.
Mhm. We typically think of staining something as kind of leaving behind a bad imprint. And so I'm like, okay, does she have like a red flag or really a purple one? Because this is a blueberry stain. You know what I mean? But she'll give you the clothes off her back. So like obviously whatever it is she's doing to stain you isn't comparable to the great things that she can do, you know?
And I mean, it's not possible to even be near blueberries and not end up with some imprint from them on some
Impossible.
thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But as Jesse was saying, that's why I now interrupted you, but yeah, so is it a bad thing? You know, it depends, right? Like, it's not one thing, it's your mother. Which is what Jill McCorkle used to say to us in our writing workshops at Bennington. But yeah, so like sometimes the best parts of your mother are your stain, and sometimes the less best parts are the stain. And I'm assuming this is a mother because there's 3 blueberry bushes. Randall, I really liked what you put on
Yeah, because it's like talking about being difficult to pill, but you're also talking about like it's in a way willing to pill itself, basically give clothes to help someone else. And that's why I interpreted the stain as like a good thing. Like it kind of put me in mind of like stained glass. Like stained glass becomes more beautiful because it's stained. And that's kind of, where my mind went with it.
there. Ooh, that'd be a good object to throw in that one, actually, to play with the word stained.
It kind of reminds me too of some people when they get like a stain on a clothing item, instead of trying to bleach it out, they'll embroider around it and they'll highlight that stain and make it like a part of the outfit. Like how Japanese will do the gold in the cracks, but the sewing version of that.
I've never heard of that, and now you'll find all my clothing with embroidery on it.
It's so cute when people do it. I really love to see it. It's like half of my Instagram feed.
Yeah, but I mean, would it be like, oh, look, she had a greasy cheeseburger? No, I love that. Anything else? That's really sweet. I love it. Sarah, are you going to try to put something in the chat for us this time? Oh, here it comes.
It was locked and loaded.
Is that the whole thing? Okay. Does somebody else want to read it?
I'll read it.
Do it, Randall. Read.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you were a fruit, you'd be a banana at any age. I'd still love you because in all stages you make something good, even fresh bread from rotten mush. If you were the pole to a tetherball, standing tall and steady, unmovable despite me, the ball getting flung all over the place, I can always come back to your steadiness. If you were a karaoke bar party, you'd make me sound like Reba, my favorite famous person since I was 5 or 6, mostly because of her beautiful red hair. But your teleprompter would only show her kick-ass sassy songs like I'm Gonna Take That Mountain, I'm a Survivor, and Pray for Peace, because you're the only one that can still see everything about me as a person before disease took away who I am.
We love Reba in this house too.
Got to work one of her concerts when I was a cadet at the Air Force Academy, so I got to stand like on the side of the stage. She's such a force of personality, like she just is energy in a body.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
We're standing, Reba.
Other than, I mean, whoever can put Reba like this into Flash, that's like an anthem, right? It's awesome. Okay, what else? What else did we love?
I mean, the ending of it, with all of the Reba references too, I think is really powerful, especially if you know about Reba. Our girl has been through some stuff, okay? She is absolutely a survivor, but she's still, a fireball personality. And I like that the way this ends is that it's just saying like that has not changed about me, and it never, and you see that remains,
Yeah, nice.
Also like the banana analogy because it's showing like the ability to adapt to any situation, no matter whether it's good, bad, whatever's going on, you can transform the situation into something better. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
One of my favorites was the tetherball pole,
Mm-hmm.
because if if the narrator is the ball flinging all over the place, the pole is holding it all. You know, it's such an image of what a rock that person is without saying the person's a rock.
Mm,
Yeah, the way you put it, unmovable despite me, that was really cool. It's like no matter how hard I try to make you move, it's not going to happen.
mhm.
Anything else? Suzanne, anything?
Everything that I was thinking was said. Also, me joking around, 'cause I know how you feel about textures, Sarah. When you said the rotten mush, I was like, man, that's the best time to eat the bananas when it's super sweet. But no, I really like how you take like the banana at any stage, you can like make it into something and like make it something more than what it is. And so that I love the spots. And so that's what really got me.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about how to take this banana analogy further because listen, bananas are fantastic in every stage, in every part of them. If you ever soaked a banana peel in water and then used that water on your flowers, 100% throw your banana peels on your rose bushes. I also, this past year, used it to change the color of my hydrangeas, which you can't do. Okay, so hydrangeas, fun fact, hydrangea, the color of it is determined by the acidic value of your soil. So the more acidic, the more blue, and the more basic, the more like pinky red it's going to be. So now I'm like sitting here trying to imagine an analogy in this where you're like, you'd get rid of my blues because you put it on the flower. Yeah. There are so many places to go with the banana, Sarah.
How funny. So Suzanne, did your flowers turn blue once you got dogs?
Yeah, they were these beautiful pinks, purple, and now they're blue. And I was like, why?
Now you know.
Yeah, I remember being like 30 and I was in Maryland and I was telling my neighbor, I want to plant some pink hydrangeas. And she's like, don't have to. The ones you got could be pink. And I'm like, what? She knew everything. It's so funny. I mean, she's a neighbor who I'm pretty sure because she had severe dyslexia. I'm not even positive she finished high school and she knew everything. I was just like, can you help me with this? Can you? You know, she was brilliant, and it just was one of those great reminders to say, you know, you can have formal education, you can have life education, you know, wherever it comes from, right? Amazing, Sarah. Nicely done. Love this one. Oh, the thing that you wrote in all caps. Hold on. No, that's not it. Hold on. No, that's not it either. Here we go. So I had never heard of this. They call it like a Fibonacci sonnet, but you could do it for Flash too. And it goes like this. You write the story with a 1-word sentence, a 1-word sentence, 2-word sentence, a 3-word sentence, 5. This is the Fibonacci sequence, right? And then at 55, you go backwards, 34, 21, and bring it back down. And I have this Rose Medal Press Field Guide to Writing Flash Fiction, so I feel like I put this in here, right? Because I own the product. But I just want to say, so in this amazing Sarah Freligh class, we spent the two weeks getting a prompt Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and talk to each other. Sarah's in there too. And then we had a week off because of Thanksgiving. And then this week has been Fix It Up. So we wrote 6 things and then we got the opportunity to fix up 3 things this week, which I feel like is the piece that's been missing from the Flash classes because they're so much closer to going out now because they've been fixed up. And I think I would write all this stuff in Flash class and then not necessarily give it the kind of attention I needed to fix it up. And she said, like, okay, take one and change the point of view in the structure, or take one and do whatever. And that's how this guy came up with this structure thing. But it's been so exciting to see how mine have changed. So everybody gives amazing advice while you're writing them the first time. So I just open up my screen and split it. and have all their advice on one side, piece on the other side, decide what kind of switch I was going to do to it, and then look at their advice, fit it in.
Mhm.
And it's amazing. The pieces are so much better. And this thing, I absolutely want to try this, but I couldn't make
Yeah.
right there in this class because then I'm copying the guy, right? But
Mhm.
I just really think that the 1-1s on either end have just a huge impact. And the way that
Yeah.
the rhythm of beat, 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 and then all of a sudden it kind of spreads out and then ends
Mhm.
beat, 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 beat.
Mhm.
Wow. So, if you're writing Flash, Randall, I don't know if you can do this in 250 words or less for. Oh, that was last night, wasn't it?
Well, it started at midnight. I've got until tomorrow at midnight to turn it in.
Oh, they did 48 hours now.
Yeah.
So much better. That 24 hours thing was killing me.
Which that one might be the one I'm doing is actually 500 words. So it might
Oh.
be the 250 one is still one day. I'm not sure about that, but
Okay. Yeah.
Well, you
That's
only
what
have half the words. You clearly only need half the time.
yeah, that makes sense to me.
Mine was the 100 words, and
Oh,
that takes extra time because it has to be exactly 100
Mhm.
words.
Yeah.
So,
right? Yeah.
anyway, I don't know if like this idea though, even if you didn't follow the exact Fibonacci sequence, or I mean, I don't know how many words this adds up to, but you could do it like 3 times over, right? And the repetition would do something. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's probably a little too stylized for that, but I just thought it was such a cool concept. And when I saw his rewrite, I thought the first version, I didn't even quite understand what was happening in his Flash. And this
Mhm.
one, oh my gosh, it was so powerful. They understood exactly what was going on. So
Mhm.
just a recommendation.
231.
How many is it?
231.
Ah, so doubled would be
Mhm.
502 or 6 or 12. I can't do math in my head right now.
462.
Yeah, it would fit. It'd be 462. So
Oh, 462. That's
Yep.
just no right. Well, I mean, I don't know if there'd be a rhyme scheme if you did it as a poem, Sarah, but this person did it as Flash. So
Mhm.
these weren't lines. This was just one solid chunk of prose. And I think that if somebody was listening to this recording, they could Google the Fibonacci sonnet, right?
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording real quick.